What's going on, everyone? What's going on, gamers? You know, console war lovers, I guess, if you guys like that too, and people who like facts, right? So we have some people that say dumb stuff like, in my recent comments, that, they think, like this guy right here, uh, Xbox just became the queen of spade while PlayStation 5 is still king, right? And I told him Nintendo is king, right? And he's like, Nintendo ain't no king, but I have respect for them. So we're gonna stop right there, right? Because that's why we're going to get right to this article. Nintendo has now trumped Sony for 20 years in Japan. Switch comfortably took the majority of Japan's best-selling games in 2024. They've been dominating in Japan for 20 straight years. And remember, like the Wii sold like 102 million. It beat the PS3 and the Xbox. The DS sold 154 million, almost 155 million. Who knows if it sold more or not? They're not going to be petty like Sony and start making up stuff, trying to add more sales to PS2 because they feel scared that the Switch is going to pass it up. It's already made more profit than it and has way better first party and sales. We'll get to that in a second. But what I find interesting is him not being aware of that and then seeing that the Switch is dominating the PlayStation 4 and it was outselling the PlayStation 5 when it came out too, and that the Switch 2 is about to take over and dominate again, and that they have been dominating for a very long time. They even were dominating in the handheld market forever and drove them out of the handheld market, and they crashed with the Vita, selling like what 10 to 12 million copies. That's about it. They don't even disclose the sales. Like they said, sales are disclosed in the Vita. We're gonna get to that in a second too, but looking at this article right here, we're just gonna put the ponies in their place and spit some facts here. You know what I mean, guys? 'Cause that's what we gotta do here. So, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get ready for this and let's spit some more facts because that's what we do on this channel. But you know the punish will come in here and get in their feelings. So going down, it says Nintendo has dominated Japanese game sales for 20 consecutive years. The latest sales data has revealed. And the reason why this is also good too is because it shows you the mindset of what Japan, uh, thinks. Like they love Nintendo supported. They're also still Japanese. They didn't abandon Japan. Sony abandoned Japan, betrayed them multiple times, betrayed Sega, became a Western California sellout. They sold their soul to California. It's pretty obvious now. Became a movie factory. Now they're making more movies than they are video games at the moment. Yeah, isn't that pretty funny? They don't really cater much to Japan. And if people think that that market doesn't matter, they're crazy because we're about to take a look at some sales here. So let's get ready for this. So game data provides some really good stuff. So Nintendo Switch has sold 35 million consoles in Japan since it launched. You don't think that market is still big? Why is there 35 million Switches sold? PlayStation 5 has sold 6.4 million since it launched. And in the past 2 weeks, it sold 73,000. But remember, it was on a deep discount. But the Switch almost sold 200,000. Guys, this is how much they're still outselling them. And Sony launched the PS5 Pro too. The PS5 Pro is flopping in Japan. The series sold 2,274, which that kind of makes sense. They've sold a total of 658,000, which is not that bad for Japan. PlayStation 4 sold 9.5 million, right? So if you combine the PlayStation 4 and the PS5 together, the Switch is still tripling that, even more than triple. Well, actually, no, not tripling, but pretty much almost there, because that would be pretty much 15,000. But still, you guys get the point here. Like, yeah, there's no competition here. PS4 is still trying to move a little bit, but we see going down here, the PS5 Pro only sold 9,000, and that's 2 weeks. This is Golden Week, by the way. As he says right here, bi-weekly period. In Japan, every year they have a Golden Week at the beginning of the year. So you combine 2 weeks sales together, and this was the result here. So yeah, 35 million just in Japan. And keep in mind, the Switch is probably like 157 million sold right now. Now, going down here and reading over here, on Monday, Famitsu published its final weekly software chart for 2004. Although the publication has yet to collate an annual chart, Game Data Library's archive confirms that at least 13 out of 15 best-selling console games last year were on the Switch. And when it's on there, remember this is first party. Only one non-Nintendo title made the top 10 last year, and that was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Square Enix's timed exclusive, because they locked it there, which charted number 10. That's not good for Final Fantasy. The other PlayStation 5 title was Dragon Quest III, which sold more on Nintendo. Once again, that's Square Enix's game again. Do you see what I mean? There's no PlayStation games there selling there. That means Nintendo has now dominated the physical software charts in Japan since 2005. In 2004, 8 out of the top 10 best-selling games were PS2 titles, and those were not PlayStation games, except like maybe Gran Turismo or whatever. But Nintendo has taken the majority of Japan's top 10 sellers every year since. Based on Famitsu's weekly hardware sales for 2004, Switch was also comfortably the year's best-selling hardware platform, while PlayStation 5 outselling Switch only 3 weeks of the year, and that's when they launched the PS5 Pro that week, and then it just dropped right off the face of the earth. That means Nintendo has had the best-selling hardware in Japan in all but 1 year when PSP was leading for the past 2 decades. Not only software, but hardware here. Who's king? Despite approaching 8 years since it launched, analysis of Nintendo's financial data and weekly Famitsu sales show that Switch just sold over 3 million units in Japan last year. That's on their 7th year. They're not going to be on year number 8. It's crazy. This compares to 4 million in 2023 and 5 million in 2022. Their closest competitor was what PlayStation 5 selling around 1.4 million units. We see this? That's significantly lower than 2.6 million units PS5 sold in 2023, and they launched a Pro this year. They get a majority of their sales in Europe, where they get overrated. When availability of consoles was boosted following COVID-related supply issues, Sony also raised the price of PS5 in Japan by 20% last year. And if we see over here, these are just all physical, not even including digital. The only thing you see for PlayStation is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth at 339,000, which is not that impressive. And then you see Dragon Quest for PlayStation 5 at 230,000. But Dragon Quest sold almost 1 million on the Switch. So let's continue down this path, shall we? Nintendo Switch passes PlayStation 2 lifetime sales in the US. And that was on December 18, 2024. It is the highest selling console of all time. The only thing that's ahead of it is the DS, and that's its own platform. And Japan had already passed the PS2. All that's left is Europe. Like I said before about Europe. Now let's go down to a list of best-selling Nintendo Switch games. Are we ready for this, y'all? Because we're going to see who's king here, right? Because these ponies think that it's PlayStation, but they're misinformed. Because you can have your opinion, but when we start talking facts, there's no arguing with that. Whoa, what's going on over here, y'all? 64.27 million. That's their own IP, first party and developed by Nintendo. Animal Crossing, 46.45 million. We're about to get updated sales too. That's not even updated. That was back at September 20th. But we're about to get more updates soon here. Same thing for PlayStation, right? Published and developed by Nintendo. Smash Brothers, published and developed by Nintendo. Bandai helped with this too, and Sora is their studio. What fighting game sells 35 million? Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, 32.29 million, published and developed by Nintendo. By the way, this is all multiple different aspects of genres they're dominating in. Genres that are dead everywhere else. And they have multiple games on multiple platforms and they ain't reaching these numbers. Now you see why they're going to PC, because they can't do these numbers. Hey, I'm just saying, if you were all that, you would have never went PC. So we're not trying to hear that over here. Super Mario Odyssey, 28.50 million, published and developed by Nintendo. Pokemon, 26.44. That's Pokemon and Nintendo. We know they're one. Pokemon Scarlet, 25.69 million. Nintendo again. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, published and developed by Nintendo, 21 million. 20 million again, Super Mario Party, published and developed by Nintendo. Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, published and developed by Nintendo. But you guys get the point here? See what I mean? Ring Fit, the 15.38 million. 15 million, 15 million, 15 million, right? 14, 14, 14. Look at all these IP. Splatoon, that's even their own shooter they created. You ready to go to PlayStation? The highest they got is a mainstream Spider-Man game. That's not their mascot. That's Marvel's mascot. And that's by Insomniac, who they acquired, right? That sold 20 million. By the way, this includes PC sales too. Grand Theft Auto 5, oh, that sold and everywhere else. But you see what I mean? That's a third-party game. That's Rockstar. It also sold a lot on Xbox, sold a lot on PC, sold a lot on PS4, sold a lot. Well, no, this is on PS4. Sold on PlayStation 5 and sold on other consoles too. It's you know what I mean. But we're looking for Sony games, right? God of War 19.5, I'll give that to them. God of War was a great game. I like that. Uncharted 4, 16 million. To me, that was the weakest Uncharted, but I still enjoyed it. And they're including PC sales, if y'all didn't know that. Gran Turismo, 12.72 million. Witcher 3, that's another third-party game that sold on all other consoles. Last of Us, 10 million, 10 million. Horizon, good game. Last of Us Part 2, good game. Last of Us Remastered. They're kind of combining that with whatever. That's also on PC, by the way. Ghost of Tsushima, combined PC sales too. Star Wars Battlefront, that's a third-party game. Do we see how we're already dropping off the chart here? Let's go over to Nintendo real quick. Guys, this is not even close. They're getting destroyed. Look at that. You can come take a look at this yourself, right? Because you can just pause the video and scroll down. They're already falling off already. Already. Not even close. Now, we ready? PlayStation 5 cumulative sales. So this is the most out of all their hardwares of all time. I did the math here. You guys can do the math yourself right on the screen. It came up to a total of 613 million sales that Sony has hardware wise in totality. And it said Vita doesn't even count. Disclosed. Just scraped it off. Oh, by the way, they made up this 5 million because they're afraid the Switch is going to pass it up, which it is, right? You know what I mean? They're at 155 million. Talk about a bunch of liars, right? How do you just add that, right? Because you already disclosed that in 2012. Then you added 5 million out of nowhere. That's a load of bullshit. Let's go to Nintendo. Nintendo has sold more than 5.5 billion video games, way ahead of Sony. And that's the majority of their games. And 800 million hardware units. Over 800 million. That's not even the exact number. Wait till we finish adding in a Switch and a Switch 2. That's selling over 100 million. They're going to be at over 900 million. Nintendo will hit 1 billion hardware units before the consoles are out of the world. Sony won't hit a billion. So what are we talking about here? Right? We're speaking facts over here, right? PlayStation? Software? We could do that right here. 1.5 billion on PlayStation 2. Uh, we could add that. That's 2.5. And then we could get 3.6 right here and 3.9, pretty much. We could do that. That's very easy to see. You know what I mean? And guys, how much of these games are not their games? I tell you about 80 to 85%, right? Nintendo's 5.5 billion. How many of those you think are their first party? I guarantee you over 65 or 70%. Because when we compare, we got to compare publishing and developing. Like if I say Nintendo, that means what are you publishing and developing, and what is your hardware selling, right? Because I'm talking about you. I didn't say Rockstar. I didn't say CD Projekt Red. No, I said what is Nintendo doing and what is Sony doing. So Sony publishing and Sony development. They're not ready for that game because if you when you start playing that game, you start to realize, man, it ain't even close. And they're doing more with lesser technology. It tells you how much better they are because if you give somebody way weaker settings and they're outperforming you and you have way more powerful settings, who's better, y'all? And you're developing all your own IPs. We're just trying to spit facts here. We're trying to teach people here who's been doing this for the longest and why we even have video games. I'm just paying respect and I'm giving credit where it's due and I'm speaking facts here. So yeah, Sony ain't no Nintendo. Not even close. They want to be, but they're not. They're going to PC to try to make it seem like they could do that. But going back to this article, and a lot of people said that the Switch wasn't going to do what it was going to do, and look at that, it passed up the PlayStation 2 in the US and in Japan. Nobody would have never said that, thought that back then. See, Sony got scared and did that and added some fake numbers. We know that we see they keep losing. Like, stop being losers. You can't tell me you respect that. That's like cheating. You know what I mean? It's like you're really copping out. Like you're kind of like, you know, you kind of. This is what makes like if you look at into the Xbox community, into the PC community, or over into the Nintendo community, this is what makes people not trust Sony. That's why people were saying the things they said about them with the Black Myth Wukong deal. They're shady. You can't trust them. I'm sorry, but I can't. And I'm not really sorry at all. Um, you know what I mean? And I own all of their consoles. So I told you I have the PS5 right here because I'm a gamer. I said Sony. I still respect the PlayStation brand for some of the games that it's providing. Just as a gamer, I've been there since PS1, but I've been gaming since regular Nintendo over 31 years. So we're just coming over here speaking facts here, and there's not much else to say except speak these facts. And what do we want to do here? Do we want to go take a look at PlayStation 2? Are you guys ready for this? Because watch this right here. PS2 software sales. This is what's also interesting here. No, I'm not gonna do that. Let's go to Wikipedia. Look at their high selling game, y'all. 17 million. Rockstar. After that, Gran Turismo, 14 million. Rockstar, GTA again, 14 million. Gran Turismo, at least these two are their games. And then Grand Theft Auto 3, Rockstar, Square Enix, Konami. He already dropped off. See, a lot of those games were just a whole bunch of video games everywhere, all a bunch of other people's video games. But you're not seeing, Sony all over the place. You're seeing Square Enix, Konami, EA Sports. You know what I mean? That's not that impressive. Now, let's go ahead, because we see this right here, right? 17 is their highest. Let's go to the 3DS. Best selling software, right? Just gotta give an example here, right? Just give me an example here. Now, if you include the other games, it goes up to 30-something million, by the way. Mario Kart 7, 18.99 million, 16.76 million, 16.33 million, 14.63 million, 13, 13, 12, 9, 9. See, they already beat them. This is all Nintendo. Can we see this? And this is just 3DS. If you combine, like, watch this right here. I just wanted to show you guys that. Just watch this. DS. That was just a portion. Here's the full picture. Super Mario Bros. 30.80 million, the DS. Nintendogs, 23.96 million. 23.16 million. 19. No, Nintendo. Pokemon, 17.67 million. Do we see this? Do we see the difference here? All developed and published by Nintendo. Who's the king? Look at these numbers. You ain't never seen any PlayStation game hit 30. Nintendo Wii software sells $82.90 million. The Wii Sports. Mario Kart Wii, 37.38 million. I mean, they can't do this, Nintendo. 33.14 million, 30 million, 28 million, 22 points. They've been doing this. Sony ain't never done this. They're not even close. Look at it. They're getting destroyed over here. They're getting spanked, y'all. They can't handle it. Watch them come in the comments. They can't handle it. Oh, man. They're getting absolutely destroyed. Look at this, man. Oh, Nintendo. Oh, developed by Nintendo. See? They can't handle this. Game over. Do we remember that back in the days? Credits in the machine. Hit that continue button. Keep on hitting it. You don't even, we removed the quarters because you're going to need it so much. We don't want you to go broke off of putting quarters in there. Like, comment, and subscribe, y'all. Have a great day. Looking forward to the Switch 2 doing the same thing again, dominating the entire industry. But this is good, though, because this just shows you what's important. It's not about graphics. It's about great video games and first party and development, right? Third party's going to be everywhere. And watch them get more third party support than they ever have. It's coming, y'all. Get ready. Sony's about to get spanked again. They had their opportunity to dominate. Concord. Fair game. You messed up. So here we have it. Take it. Take it.